Daniel chapter 3. Something I realized when I read this time, always seeing new things, is that last chapter was Nebuchadnezzar had a dream about a gigantic image. Daniel told him the interpretation of the dream. Chapter 3, Nebuchadnezzar builds the image that it had a dream about. Apparently he liked the interpretation, that he was gold and his reign was awesome. So he built the image of gold. It was 90 feet tall, 9 feet wide, so about the size of a basketball goal wide, nine stories tall, total gold. So very expensive image. And he invited everybody that was super important in the whole nation. He summoned the satraps, priests, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other provincial officials to come to the dedication of the image. So everybody was really important. In the last chapter we learned that Daniel was promoted, had great honor bestowed upon him, and he had asked that his friends that had helped him pray for the interpretation, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, would also be promoted, so they were promoted. So they came to the party. Alrighty? Then his herald declared that if the herald loudly proclaimed, "This is the command, what you are commanded to do, O peoples and nations, as soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zith, lyre, harp, pipes, and all kinds of music." So as soon as you hear the band start playing, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into the blazing furnace. Okay, so you've heard this one before. Still good to listen to it again. Therefore, as soon as they heard the band start, all the peoples fell down, worshipped the image of gold. At this time, some astrologers came forward and denounced the Jews. Okay, so last story was chapter 2. The king had made a determination that you had to tell him the dream and tell him the interpretation. If you could not do that, he was going to chop you into pieces and make your house a big heap of rubble. And then all of the astrologers, magicians, all these people came and said, "It's impossible, can't be done." And then so he made a decree. He said, "Okay, we're going to now execute all of the astrologers, magicians, sorcerers." So he sent it out. They were going out to kill the people, the astrologers, magicians, sorcerers. And Daniel said, "Oh, wait, let me pray, and we'll get this taken care of, King." Okay? So the people that Daniel had a big part in saving their lives just a chapter ago, they were going to be chopped into pieces and their houses made into a heap of rubble. The astrologers, or another way to say, the people Daniel just saved their lives, came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to the king, "Oh, king, live forever." So like, "Oh, you're the bomb. You're the greatest king ever. That's the most coolest statue ever. And we just loved worshiping it. Oh, it was so awesome. I wish you would make more and more statues." That's not in the Bible, but, "Oh, king, live forever. You've issued a decree that everyone must fall down and worship the image of gold. Whoever does not fall down will be burned into the fiery furnace. There are some Jews over there. You set it over the affairs of your province." It's like, instead of us, you should have made us the bosses, but you gave it to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And look at them. They just do not do what you say. There are some Jews you set over the affairs of the province of Babylon who pay no attention to you. They do not worship your image of gold. Furious and with rage, the king, he liked everybody always talking good about him, and anybody that didn't mind him, he got mad. So he's got steam's coming out of his ears, and his blood veins popping in the top of his head. But these people did just tell him the interpretation of the dream and did save all the astrologers' lives. So he's like, okay, I'm going to be cool. It's cool. I'm really, really mad. I should totally kill you guys, but as he said, he says, is it true that you do not serve my gods? Now, when you hear the sound of the horn, blah, 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 the band playing, fall down and worship him, and it'll all be very good. So he's basically, I'm going to give you guys a second chance. Better do it this time. If you don't, you're going to be thrown into the fiery furnace. And then his response, which is not very smart of him, says, then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand? Grace, Daniel, what God can rescue them out of his hands? Nebuchadnezzar, is he stronger than God, our God? So, this is one of the few times that I love rebellion. Open, blatant rebellion. Normally I despise rebellion. It's when the kids at school just won't do what the teachers ask them to ever, and they're always misbehaving, and they just are rebellious against authority. Or people that won't do what police officers ask and spend their lives in jail, and just people that won't ever mind. Just really hate people like that. And it's the Bible denounces it. Says rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. It's just like worshiping the devil. If you want to be worshiping the devil, rebel against your parents. Don't ever do what they ask you to. But rebellion on this side of things is rebellion against wickedness and standing up for righteousness. This is the kind of rebellion I love. So these young men, probably about Alex's age, or maybe even teenagers, stand up before the king who's going to throw them into the furnace, who just said, who can save you? This is really famous. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to save us from it, and he will rescue us from your hand. All right, so they know God is going to take care of them. They know he can. But the next verse is really powerful. It says, verse 18 says, but even if he does not, we want you to know, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. So we know God can take care of us. But even if he doesn't, we're not going to do what you say. We will die before we'll disobey God. We will die before we'll worship an idol, because they know all the heartache that has happened because all the kings that worshipped idols have brought the children of Israel out of Jerusalem. Jerusalem's destroyed. They're in captivity. They're in another nation that only worships idols, and they got their head on straight now. And they're like, we don't have anything to do with idols. Idols are bad. We are only going to serve God. And if it means that you have to throw us in the fire furnace, that's what we're going to do. We are not going to serve idols. So the Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual, commanded the strongest soldiers of the army to tie him up. The order was so swift that these men that threw him in were burned and died. The flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took them up. They threw him in wearing their robes, their trousers, their turbans. And 3 men were firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. The king Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there 3 men who were tied up and thrown into the fire? They said, certainly, O king. Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound, unharmed, and the 4th looks like the Son of God. Nebuchadnezzar approached, opened the blazing furnace, and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. All the royal advisors crowded around them. They saw They saw the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was their hair of their heads singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. So, pretty amazing. They got in the fire, and they didn't even smell like smoke. You know, when we hang out with Pawpaw, and he smokes cigarettes, just being around that, it makes a smell. You can smell it in your clothes. They got into the fire furnace. The Lord protected them so much that they didn't even smell like smoke. Not even their hair was singed. The Lord took really good care of them. So, Nebuchadnezzar changed his tune. He went from, "You're so going to die, I'm going to kill you right now. And I don't even care. These guys, you guys that are throwing them in, you're probably going to die because it's so hot, but just do it right now, right now, right now. I hate these guys." He went from there to, after he took him out, he says, "I decree a new law that if anyone says anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they get cut into pieces and their houses turned into piles of rubble." Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. He gave them a big promotion. So he went from trying to kill them to giving them a promotion. The end. Good story. So, when is rebellion good? When it's against wickedness. Love you guys.